Hey everybody, it's Friday and it is time for This Week in WordPress. This is where we get together, hang out for a little while, and talk about the best stuff that's been published this week in WordPress. I'm BJ and I've put together all of the news, tutorials, and resources that I saw that I thought you would be interested in. So let's get to it. All right, welcome back everybody. I love Friday afternoons for this. This is my absolute favorite part of the week. It is one of the highlights of my day especially, and I'm hoping that you guys are having an absolutely fantastic week. It's the end of it. Hopefully you've got a lot of good weekend plans coming up, and that maybe your weekend WordPress hasn't been too straining on you. Hi Colombian Hosting, I see you in YouTube. I'm gonna be talking a lot. If you haven't tuned in a lot before, then I try to keep up with all the comments. I try to talk to everybody as much as possible and just get a good conversation going around. So if you have anything that you've been working on this week in WordPress that you'd like to share, feel free to throw it in the comments. If you have anything to say about any of the articles we discuss, please throw them in there, and I do what I can to make sure that it shows both, that I talk about both what was going on Facebook and on YouTube, because you guys who are watching on one or the other can't see the comments. So, but feel free to chime in there. And if you're new to it and you don't know what's going on yet, all of the articles that I'm going to be talking about today are in the description of this video. So just expand it, click on it, and read all the stuff that was put together by all of the wonderful, wonderful people out there in the WordPress community. And if you're really fantastically awesome, and I know you are, click on the bell on YouTube or go to the Elegant Themes page on Facebook and sign up for notifications to hear when we go live. Then, you know, that's going to be awesome, and you can never miss out on my pretty face or Max or Donyetta's or Jason's or Nathan's or anybody else who comes on here. So you'll want to do that, absolutely. Now, before I get in, I always want to shout out, like I said, I gave a shout out to the WordPress community in general, so I want to give you an opportunity to be a part of the even more of a part of the Elegant Themes community. We now have open blog submissions that I want to make sure all of you know about, where if you've ever wanted to write for the Elegant Themes blog, you can. There is a link. It is the very top one in the description here, so make sure that you check it out. It is a paid position, and we really want to showcase some of the wonderful work that you guys do. You do absolutely great stuff, and we think that we need to get it out there. So check that out and see if it's going to be a good fit for you. I see some comments in here. Hi everybody. Dominic, hope you're having a very good Friday as well. I see that I didn't turn off the sound on my phone this time. It has been one of those days, so that is now muted so I don't get distracted. But let's dig in. I mean, that's all the preamble stuff, but I just wanted to say hi, get all that stuff out of the way. And, oh, well, Robin on YouTube asked what happened last week, and I wish I could tell you that I knew. I think it was a software issue more than anything else, because we use OBS, and it had happened to multiple streamers last week, and hopefully we've got it sorted out. The test runs that I didn't have any problems where it was cutting in and out last week, so I'm crossing my fingers and knocking on wood that it doesn't happen this week. But I do think it was a software issue, since it wasn't just me that had streaming issues last week. It was nuts that that multiples of us did, but man, I think it'll be okay. Hopefully. So this week was actually a pretty slow news week in WordPress. There wasn't a whole lot going on. Last week, we got a new schedule for the 4.9.6 update, and it should be coming out next week. We've got a release candidate out, but that's really it. Nothing major has happened. So I wanted to really put out two articles that I found that are newsworthy in not in a more general WordPress way than stuff that was actually happening in WordPress itself with the software itself. So the first one that I saw was Torque, that they did an article on the decline of social traffic and what they call the SEO renaissance. And this is something I want all of you guys to pay attention to, because BuzzFeed and a lot of other places, SEMrush and multiple other of the web tracking places have done a lot of research, and social traffic is really on the decline. That between all of the new algorithms they're putting out, and on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, everything, and people being a little more wary on what they put out there, your websites aren't getting nearly as many people to look at them through socials. So that is across the board. So I wanted to point this out because they're talking about different ways that you can really optimize for SEO, because Google and Bing and Yahoo are all actually doing really well. But the thing that it's talking about specifically, that I really wanted to call out and make sure that you're aware of, that it's not keyword stuff. This was stuff that I had no clue actually came into rankings on Google. I knew that it was important to them for listings, but I didn't know that it was for actual order of rankings. And this was according to SEMrush, and they're like, them and Moz are just right there at the top, that they were talking about direct website visits being an indicator of major SEO and getting ranking, that people are going to your website. And then the time on site, which we knew was important, but I wasn't aware that time on site actually made a difference in your rankings, as well as pages per sessions, how many pages they go through while they're visiting your site, and then the bounce rate. How many of them, the lower the bounce rate, you want people to click through from the first page to the second, so that they don't just bounce right off the first page that they come in on. So those are actually ranking factors now. I wasn't aware of this. If you guys are aware of this, then just paint me silly, and just it's something that I was just completely, it blew my mind to see this. But these are the kind of things for SEO that we need to be focusing on right now. And I just wanted to get that out there, because to me, that's newsworthy. And if it's not to you guys and you knew that, then you're one step ahead of me already, so you're good to go on that. I see some comments going on in YouTube right now talking about the Divi blurb module and keeping the icon and image on the left side, and on the desktop it looks great, but on mobile it looks bad. Is there going to be an option to change the icon on mobile? I don't know, Colombian. That's one that I have not seen, heard anyone talk about. I would throw a thread up on the support forums or on the forums about that, because I really don't know. I haven't heard anyone mention the blurb module in a long time. So if it is on the docket, it's something that I haven't noticed or haven't heard about. And I haven't looked at the dev channel in a while, but that's something to check the forums and see, if you don't want to be able to do that with CSS. I see Michael Dennison on YouTube. Why don't you have a laptop design to go along with desktop, smartphone, and tablet? Mine always looks bad on a laptop. Usually, Michael, the desktop should look about the same on the desktop as it would a laptop, just because of the resolution. If you need to do anything different on that, in terms of it looking different, you may be able to set the resolution of your either monitor or browser. One of the things that I do whenever I need something in between, I have a 27-inch monitor and then a 17-inch monitor, I think there, and then a Retina MacBook. So what I'll do is actually resize my window to do that, where so I can see, instead of just clicking the smartphone or the Divi or the tablet emulator and the Divi builder, I just resize my window that way, where it will show at a slightly smaller resolution. I've also descaled my MacBook resolution and changed my desktop resolution. I realize that is absolutely not a very, very intuitive solution there, but I don't think that one's going to be coming along. I think resizing the window itself would be your best bet on that one, just to be able to check on smaller screens, smaller resolutions, that don't show like they do on tablet, because I know exactly what you're saying. I have some where I have way too much white space. One of my favorite, one of my first, not favorite, it was not one of my favorite ones. One of my first websites that I built as a freelancer, I thought was absolutely perfect. It looked great. I was doing it on my laptop. It was beautiful. It just had barely enough white space. Like, it was great. I loved it. And then I went and saw it on a friend's iMac in his office, and it was itty bitty. I had apparently not paid attention to the 13-inch MacBook that I was working on, the resolution it had, and it it looked terrible. Like, it was like in the very middle of the screen like this, and the 27-inch had it out like this. It was nuts. So I feel your pain on that and need some kind of, I have to change that kind of thing all the time. So yeah, that would be what I suggest. If anybody else has figured out a way to do that other than resizing the window, I need that as well. My mouth gets super dry, y'all. And also, the second news thing that I have, and it's the last one under news, because I didn't actually see a whole lot that was specifically that I would consider news. There's a new conference this year that's going to be in Nashville, Tennessee. So if any of you went to WordCamp US last year in December, or are planning on going back this December, Nashville is a fantastic town. I've always lived just an hour or two south of Nashville, and it's a wonderful town. I've spent so much time there. And this year in August, there's a Southeast PHP community, a conference that's coming up, and there are a lot of great speakers, a lot of, I've looked at the schedule on there, it's really cool, and there's a website, the WP Shout, one of their writers is going to be there as a speaker, and if you're interested in the development side of WordPress and PHP in general, it's something that you should definitely look at, because Nashville is a great town. First-year conferences are fantastic. If you've never been to a first-year conference, they are wonderful, so that you can see just all of the workings. Honestly, it's generally a much smaller conference than a lot of them would be after a few years, because they're just getting the marketing out. It's a lot of word-of-mouth stuff. And when it's a small conference, when it's the first couple of years of a conference's existence, you can get in really good with a lot of people. That they're very enthusiastic. The organizers and the community who's there, you can make a lot of really good connections. So if you're in the development sphere, want to go around into the PHP stuff, check out Southeast PHP in Nashville in August, because it's new this year. It popped up into my feed about this one, and I'm not sure what's going on in August for me, but that's something that I may be making the trip up a couple of hours. So hopefully that'll be a really good conference. Hopefully I'll see some of you guys there if we end up going. Chris McLean in Firefox, goodness gracious, in YouTube says that Firefox and Chrome have a feature to view pages in a responsive mode, so you can resize the width from the desktop all the way down to mobile. That's 320 pixels wide, to double check. I have used some of that, and that's in the dev tools, right? If you go into the inspect and dev tools, what is it? Command-Shift-D? I can't ever remember, because I never use it. I always actually just go into the inspect under more tools, developer tools. Yeah, Command-Option I don't know what it is. I can't see what it is right now. But it's in the dev tools. It's that one is good. I always forget about that one, because I use the one in Divi, like they mentioned earlier, and that's something that Control-Shift-M. Thank you. But yeah, there's all sorts of stuff like that in there. And yeah, Michael, it would be cool to do that. That may be something that the dev team is working on that I just haven't heard of, because they're working on a lot of quality of life stuff right now. I'm not sure if you guys have paid a lot of attention over the last few weeks, but we've got a lot of sneak peeks and a lot of new features coming in. Just they're putting them out week by week by week now that we've got 3.1 out. And they have so many quality of life things in the pipeline. It's going to be great. Like this coming weeks, we just did a sneak peek on doing Divi-based post types. So that one's going to be really cool when it's released. So for those of you who are just joining us, if you're just tuning in, I wanted to let you know that this is the This Week in WordPress stream. We just finished up the news section where we talk about stuff that's generally of importance to the general WordPress community, and we're moving into the tutorial section where I've found some stuff that I just think is cool that I think you would want to know how to do, and that I kind of do too. So if you're new and you've never watched this before, feel free to throw a comment in the comments or the live chat of the video on YouTube, and we'll talk about it. If you have anything going on for your week in WordPress and you want to talk about it, have a question, we have a fantastic community here. The folks are wonderfully helpful in getting questions answered, so feel free to throw any kind of pain points you've had this week in WordPress. Just let us know. We just want to hang out, have fun, and try to make Friday afternoon go a little bit faster for us. So moving into the tutorials, the Donetta, I'm gonna toot the horn on Elegant Themes like I always do when I get into the tutorials, because there's always something that blows my mind whenever I see it pop up that I wasn't aware that Jason or Donetta was working on. And this week it was Donetta's how to indirectly apply section dividers to your design modules. And it was her using the section dividers to actually show things in the modules themselves. And if you click through the link, it's the first one under the tutorial section. You'll see it's the second part in a series where she did rows before. That this one looks awesome because it's making, like, you can put a semicircle all the way down, a layered semicircle on the top, cutting through entire modules that you have, like say text modules of different colors, and it makes me just super happy to see that, because I would never be able to code something like that. That writing that in CSS would make me just bang my head against the desk. But seeing that you can do it with the Divi section dividers, which I truly love, which is, I think, my favorite thing they've ever put into Divi are these section dividers. My goodness, I just love them. I'm very, very happy that Donetta has taught me how to do this. I think it is beautiful. So check those out. They are great because I didn't even think about doing this. And then also we have an article up on how to conduct an SEO audit of your website. I really, really like this one because it's just going through and looking at what needs to be updated on your site. It may not be fixing anything, but it's really using Google Analytics and just generally looking at your site to see about meta descriptions, canonical URLs, what you have Google crawling, if it's looking at all of your pages. Just taking the time to go through and do an audit like this can really up your rankings and traffic, and then that means your revenue is coming up, and it's going to be awesome. So check that out too. That was a really good post and reminder that I needed to get back into the Google Search Console on some of mine. Oh, excuse me. So the third one. Okay, so I don't know what you guys use for like text editors and things like that. For like Sublime Text or Atom or Notepad++, all of these that are out there, they're all great. But I'm a Sublime Text guy. I use Atom occasionally, ATOM, the GitHub open source text editor for coding and stuff, but Sublime is really where my heart is. And I want you guys to click the third link under tutorials, because this one is very specific about WordPress, but I've used this for so many things that aren't WordPress related that I had to put this in here when I saw it, because I've used this. This is my favorite feature in Sublime Text. Well, I guess second favorite feature. The first one is being able to put a cursor at the end of every single line and putting just a hard return between them. It makes making my notes for this a whole lot easier and nicer. So this one is how to search through a WordPress plugins files with Sublime Text. Now notice it says files. Like, Sublime has a search in folder function. Not just the file that you have open, that you pick a folder on your desktop, on your laptop, wherever you are. You pick the entire folder, which in this case is the plugin folder that you're installing. And you can search every file in that directory that is searchable by text. With text, you can search it for your keywords, your characters, or whatever that you want in there and be able to find all of it. It will then open up those files in Sublime Text with those characters or whatever your query was highlighted. It is so wonderful, y'all. It is so wonderful. It is so wonderful. So when I saw this, just to give you guys a reminder, if you didn't know about this, and if you didn't know that there were text editors out there that were more than just like word processors or just, Notepad or Terminal where it's just basic notes, please check out something like Atom or Sublime Text, because being able to search an entire directory and have it pull up every instance of the word Divi is so unbelievably useful. It helped me so much whenever I was learning Ruby, just being able to find all the stuff that I needed to change. It's a ridiculously useful feature, and if you've never used it, if you have not ever used that, please go play with it. If you've never downloaded Sublime Text, download it. If you like it, you can pay for it. If not, there's an unlimited free trial that you'll just keep getting bugged about to upgrade, and I've had some developer friends say it's like their little friends, like, hey, how you doing, update buddy, and then they pop they hit remind me later or whatever it is. So Sublime is awesome. Make sure that you guys look at that one, because it is seriously one of the absolutely most useful things I've ever found in a piece of software, that it has saved my tail a couple of times. So looking at the comments, getting something like toolset or face TWP functionality, dynamic search for directory and listing sites. Yeah, I have not heard about that one. That actually sounds, Big Mike, that actually sounds like something that may be in the pipeline. That might be something, that would be something that they probably have heard about before. If you need to search for in the directory like that, take a look if you have it downloaded or on FTP or local server. Check it on using Sublime Text. That's actually what I've used it for as well, is I downloaded the entire an entire website, searched all through it whenever it was hacked, and found all of the instances of the IP addresses that it was blocking and how it was allowing everything. That was exactly what I did with it. So that's something to do, to at least try to do that. But I know it's not part of Divi right now. It could be. And thank you, Columbian and Lindley. I appreciate that. You guys are awesome as well. You guys are wonderful. I love having you guys show up every Friday. It's crazy. And yeah, Big Mike, Ajax refresh search would be great. Oh man. That's something that we are always looking at. This is one thing. I know I say I don't know if it's coming and all that. We do take suggestions like that, and really the dev team looks at the support forums. That as people are requesting features and things like that, go into the forums and say, hey, this is a feature that I would like to have. Have you guys thought about it? That kind of thing. Because stuff like Ajax refresh search is amazing. That would be awesome. So that's something that if we've never heard of, we need to. Or it's the kind of thing that if you're on Facebook, talk about it in one of the Facebook groups and talk to Vlad about it. He's really taken over a lot of our social on Facebook and really trying to be there as a community liaison. So you'll be able to see him in there, and he passes a lot of stuff back. So having things like that, that's how we get ideas for it. That would be a... That is what we love. We love hearing from people. I know you hear a lot of that, and I know we don't have a suggestion box on the website or anything, but that's kind of what we use the forums for, is looking at kind of pain points that you guys have that you would need, much like the Ajax refresh search. So sorry. By the way, this is not an advertisement anyway, but man, these Tangerine LaCroix, they're so good. I just found them a couple of weeks ago by accident. It was in a box that I got. It's so good. I love these things. So anyway, not any kind at all. It was just, I think they're delicious. So yeah. Moving further into the tutorials, like I said, the Sublime Text was awesome. And then I ran across this one today. And this was one that WPMU dev called "How to Protect Your WordPress Business from a Major Life Change." And this is something that I'm going through right now. I've had to go through a lot, and I've got a sickness in the family, and that was something that they talk about here. It's like, how do you protect your business when something major happens? I mean, all of us are WordPressers. All of us are dealing with an online business in some way, where we are at the mercy of the internet. We're at the mercy of life, that if we're not there to manage it, sometimes things can go wrong. And it's hard to make sure that you're in the right space when something big changes. And it could be a big change, or it could be a bad change. It just, as long as something changes. And it could be you getting married, it could be going on a trip, or a relationship ends. You start dating somebody new. That's going to take up a lot of your time. Moving to a new town, just the process of moving down the street. They list in this article, like, your children start summer vacation. Those of you with kids, think about the first few weeks of your business after your kids come home from school and they're at home all day long. Just, these kinds of transitions, that's a life change for a few months. And this is an article that really goes through the things that you can think about. And like I said, I'm dealing with this right now, trying to balance everything, trying to go through, make sure that nothing falls by the wayside. And they start by talking about, make sure that you focus on your physical and mental wellness first. I mean, it's something that's really important, just to stand up, that you get stress headaches, you get stomach aches. I can't even imagine that none of you have ever had not thrown up from stress because when things get really, really, really crazy in your life. And like mental wellness, a lot of people don't think about their mental health as being as important as their physical health, but they're completely intertwined. That your stress levels and anxiety levels like that can directly impact the way that your body physiologically is reacting to the world around you. So you need to be able to get your headspace clear, and your work quality can go down. So you just need to focus on this stuff. So they give you 9 steps to go through, and at least ideas, not necessarily steps, but 9 things that you can do to make sure that your business and your website, that however it is, that your seven employees, Michael, are absolutely covered in the case that something happens, because things will come up. They talk about finding ways to automate your business, talking about getting insurance, and with like a freelancers union, and like with homeowners insurance. I don't know if you've ever had renters insurance anywhere, but it is fantastic. My auto insurance, after I had a wreck, it kept me working because they cut me a check within, I think, 3 days, so that I could just straight up go buy a new car and drive to work at the time. Stuff like that makes a big difference, to make sure that if you have that just set up, it's there. Michael says on YouTube that get a laptop and you can travel. Oh, believe me, I've done that. I work in doctor's offices quite a bit on either my phone or my laptop. One of the reasons I have the Galaxy Note 8, and the reason that I got it is because it has the split screen and the pen, so that I can take it when I travel, and when things have to get done, I can get them done. It's absolutely wonderful to be able to do that. It's also terrifying sometimes. It's also overwhelming almost sometimes, but it's good. Good to be able to do that with your laptop. I call it my nerd bag. I keep a backpack with just notebooks and erasable pens and cords and cables and laptops and just everything I need for that kind of reason. That's insurance. That's backup for me, that I can just grab my bag and leave. If I need to go somewhere, I know I'm not going to miss anything. And that's one of the ways that I kind of idiot-proof my business, is the way I put it, because if I'm an idiot and have to do something, I fixed it for myself. Talk about contracts and financial management plans, stuff like that. And honestly, my favorite is number 6, the one where it's talking about acknowledging the change, because one of the biggest hurdles to handling any kind of life change is just making sure that you acknowledge the fact that it's happening, and then you can move forward. I saw you guys say forum in the comments. That if you move forward at that point, but otherwise you're going to be kind of spinning your wheels and trying to do everything like it was when things are not like they were. So that's a really good article. I think I'm focusing and projecting a little bit because of some changes going on in my life right now, but I do think it is majorly important as well to you guys, because you guys are going to go through a lot of stuff, good and bad. So I want to comment, Olivia Nazakone, I will not be able to pronounce that. Olivia on YouTube says that she's a complete newbie to elegant themes and was wondering, she's not techie at all. Love the fact that we make it easy, but if we're stuck, can we reach out to when creating our site? Olivia, Matthew has a great one on going to support. Thank you, somebody in the comments here. That's awesome. I appreciate you guys. That wasn't even me typing that in, so I appreciate one of my teammates being in the comments and rocking that out, submitting a support ticket at elegantthemes.com/forum. Also, the documentation is wonderful. Oh man, that came up immediately. The documentation is wonderful, that if you click the help button in the Divi builder, a video will pop up right there for whatever that particular feature is, and they're really, really useful. I had to use some myself not too long ago, so thank you, Jason and Nathan, for that. And also, the Facebook groups are great. That the community is wonderful that has sprung up around Divi and Elegant Themes and WordPress in general. There are a lot of groups out there for people to be able to go and let me think. I got distracted. For a lot of people to be able to go and ask these questions and stuff, and we troll those as well. So I shouldn't say troll. We lurk and watch those as well and respond and answer. So all those places. And yeah, Michael, I'm good. What did something die? Did my stream die again? Showing green on mine, so hopefully that is. But yeah, I'm good. So further into the tutorials, I'm looking. I think everything is okay. I'm gonna check. Yeah, Facebook is still showing good. I'm always, after last week with it cutting in and out, I want to make sure that I check every now and then. So if you're just joining us, I want to take just a second to welcome anybody who is coming in and never been here before, or you're coming in late and you have been here before. We're in the middle of the tutorial section of This Week in WordPress, where we're going through just the cool stuff that we can learn how to do, and we're just kind of learning and hanging out. So every week we get together, do this, talk in the comments, discuss all these cool articles that people have written from all over the WordPress ecosystem here, and we just kind of hang out. So if you have any questions about anything, feel free to throw them in the comments and say hi, and like, hi Jackie boy. That sounds really weird, but he's just saying it out loud, but that's the name on YouTube. Hi Jackie boy. So yeah, we're just all friends here, and we talk about WordPress on Friday afternoons. It's awesome. Yeah, Michael, I have some personal stuff going on, but I mean, that's the thing. That's why I liked that article so much, is because of that. It resonated that I had to get some of this stuff done. Like, I had to make sure that I had everything planned out well enough that, I could handle everything that was happening. And this isn't the first time that it's gone on either. It's something that when I transitioned careers, I had to make sure that a lot of this was going on, that transition from a full-time faculty job to a freelance WordPress job. That took a lot of making sure that my business, and going through a lot of this stuff, like planning it out, having the insurance there, doing everything. It's really important. And, when stuff comes up, it comes up. So anyway, moving on into the next one in the tutorials. This one was really cool. So they're all really cool. Like, you guys know I get excited about this stuff and don't like to include stuff that I don't get excited about. So it's like, oh, this one's crazy good. But Smashing Magazine put out an awesome one this week called Building Mobile Apps Using React Native and WordPress. So I found out about React Native a while back. It was sometime last year, I think. And what React Native is it's a subset, kind of an offshoot, a spin-off, really, of React. And React is a JavaScript library. It's what Gutenberg is written in, it's what the Divi builder is written in, and it's what Facebook is written in, and Instagram. These are written in JavaScript React, which is a JavaScript library put out by Facebook. Facebook is the one who started this open source library. And if you want to know a bunch of drama about it and Gutenberg, you can go back and look at it last year, because it was everywhere. But React Native is not React. What React Native does is let you build mobile apps, native mobile apps, using React. Instead of developing for Java or developing for Android using Java or developing for iOS using Swift or C#, you're going to be able to write an app for both using React Native. That's great. Like, that's crazy good. And what it'll do is it makes it as a native app as opposed to a website that you use that kind of wraps it in an app view that just makes an app and then pulls up a website basically. Where's the website in a wrapper essentially. And React Native deals with native navigation and fantastic things like that, where you can use the native buttons, you can use the native images and the calls and all of this using React. And it's a little more complicated than regular React, but it's not complicated enough that you cannot learn it first. You can still do it. But the reason that I brought it up today is that I was learning this, and I've kind of fallen off doing it. But what made me want to learn this is that you can now use WordPress as your database for an actual mobile app using React Native. So that if you were to set up a WordPress site, a WordPress database, and get it set up right, and they tell you how in this, and then you wanted to write a React Native app, you could then use the REST API for every person who is using your app will then interact with the WordPress backend as the database for that app. It's amazing. It is so cool to be able to do that now. And this breaks it down from the beginning on what the REST API is, and that you are at least they want you to be at least familiar enough as a beginner in this one, like the familiar with the basics of React, but they start out with getting the npm installed so that you can get create React Native app. If you don't know what npm is, the Node package manager, look at that. That's where you would really need to start if you've never done any of this before. But bookmark this and come back, because being able to go through, it shows how to pull up everything for making the app and making it all interact with like WooCommerce and things like that. It's really cool, you guys. I've set up just some super duper basic React. I don't even want to call them apps. Little mini apps using React Native and WordPress, and it's so cool. Like, it's just neat. It basically loads a web page. That's all I've ever gotten it to do. But it's just amazing that you can do it with WordPress. So read this and think about making a real iOS or Android app, or both. I mean, you can publish with one button push. You publish to both app stores, basically. It will put out the package that you need for the APK that you need for Android, as well as the iOS app that you can submit. I don't know what it actually comes out as for iOS, but as that you can submit to the App Store. Excuse me, but it's super cool. So if you've thought about learning it, React in the past, and you have any interest in app development, do that, because it's look at it. It may not be for you, but it's something really cool to see how React Native and WordPress interact, and the cool things that you can do with the REST API, because just every day people are coming up with new cool stuff to use the WordPress REST API. So that one was really cool. And then there are a few more things in the tutorials. I'm not gonna go through specifically, but I want you to look at how to create a professional-looking freelance portfolio. That one's neat, because everyone hates looking at a website, trying to get a website and with a poorly designed portfolio. If you use PHP MyAdmin, you can change your WordPress theme from there. How to convert WordPress categories to custom taxonomies, that's super useful. But the other one I wanted to specifically dive into was the very last one, is WPMUDev did a how to successfully launch a retargeting campaign using WordPress. And I like retargeting. I like remarketing. This is something that I'm personally very interested in, so I figured that some of you guys may be as well, because we all have to rebrand at some point. We all have to get someone's attention again. We all lost sales for some reason, and we have to do that second reach out to someone for some reason. And this one's like, they start out by saying you visit a website, browse products, and you think, oh, that looks interesting, I may need to do something with this, and then you leave. And this is like talking about how people come back to you. It's like after that, people, like, you're on Facebook and you see an ad about it, that kind of thing. Where this one goes in very deep about how that happens, about retargeting ads, where you can use the Facebook targeting pixel. You can create the campaign that you attach the tracking pixel to. And if you've never done this, I have a friend who works in marketing, and we were just talking about the tracking pixel. And one day I went to his company's website, and then maybe 6 months later, I was on my phone and said, "Oh yeah, I saw an ad for your company on Facebook today." And he was like, "Have you ever visited our site?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he was like, "All right, I got you then." He was like, "That was me," because he said that he has access to so much data on people and being able to target people using those pixels. He's like, if you've ever visited my site, since I've been working here, then I've got data to be able to target you. Not me specifically, but in general. And so he is so good at doing this that it's nuts. So when I saw this article where you're talking about, recovering abandoned carts, if you have a bad problem with that, or if you don't get new members, if people go part of the way through the registration process and then bail, if you just want people to have a greater brand awareness, that's something that that's kind of my pet thing, is I just want people to know about it. And I'm big on word of mouth. So like creating brand creating brand awareness is really important to me. That's actually one of the reasons I love this show so much, is because this stream with you guys, is because I think that being able to reach out and interact with you guys as people, that I see Olivia as a user as opposed to a number, that kind of thing will then, she's talking in the comments earlier that love the fact that we make it easy, all this, and if you get stuck, how to reach out to us specifically. That specifically is our brand. That at Elegant Themes, we want to empower our community. Our community is the main thing that we do, and that is the main. That seeing that means that our brand, that we're doing something right there, and this stream helps do that. But it also, like, you guys are then, have you guys ever told anybody about watching this stream? That's what this kind of retargeting can do, that occasionally sending out reminders may make somebody do. That's cool. And bye, Michael. See you. Thank you for joining in today. But it's just stuff like that. It's really awesome. And I saw I'd missed it before, that Matthew said an app that lets people watch This Week in WordPress. That would be awesome. I need my own app. That would be so cool. The problem with that is streaming. That'd be another RMTP issue. And ooh. But you can watch it in the YouTube or Facebook app. Huh? But no, that would be awesome though. But that kind of thing is what you could do. That if we were able to get a dedicated stream URL to put this to, you could with React Native write it, pull that stream that was routed, and all of the back end being on WordPress. Absolutely, there would be no problem with being able to do that. Cough, cough, cough. Someone, not me, because I can't do it. Cough, cough. But yeah, so check out the launching the retargeting campaign. If you're interested in marketing, really neat stuff in there. So moving on into the resources, there were a few that I thought were great, a few that I just want you to be able to click through and look at that I think you're going to find some good stuff in. Another one that WPMU Dev published this week is content syndication. And I've talked about content syndication before, and this one I'm just going to touch on. But it's content syndication for not bloggers. It's not just for bloggers. And because a lot of people think that content is generally within one small part of the internet, that there's writers, there's developers, there are designers, and that the idea of that only the blogger and writer section of it has to worry about these particular issues is really pervasive, and it's not true. I think that you guys know that as working in WordPress. I think that you guys know better than almost anybody how all of it interacts together, that it's a collaborative effort, and that to be able to do what we do, we have to know about all of it, at least enough to be dangerous. So one of the issues that this brings up is that how useful syndicated content can be for WordPress users. And it talks about how for marketing and things like that, using canonical tags. It talks about updating your robots.txt and how getting other people to syndicate your content. So if you're the marketing person, you can go out and you can make sure that your dev team has set up canonical URL ability, and then your writers make sure that they use the canonical URLs, and then you can go out and then let your content be syndicated so that, and let it be accessed throughout all of these databases and aggregation services, like it mentions Outbrain and Taboola, and then people will basically reblog your content, but you're the one who is going to get the oh, I started to stutter there. Did you hear that? You get the link juice from it. So Google will only index one copy of a particular article. It's not going to list like all of the scraped copies of Elegant Themes articles that people have out there. It's going to list ours because ours has the canonical URL. Things like that. So if you're a marketing person, you need to know about content syndication. It could be something that you might want to get into with your company, where you either pull in a little bit of syndicated content, or you want to go and push it out, where if you've got some really good content, you want to get it out there, and what you're doing is brand awareness. That's a good way to get brand awareness. There was a plugin I used years ago. I haven't used it in a while. What was it called? Zemanta. Zemanta. It was something I'd used on my personal blogs for a while, because it was a pseudo syndication app that let you, it was basically, if you remember web rings from the 90s, where it was like, click for the next app in the ring, or the next website in the ring, and it would just take you through random websites that were all linked together. It was like this, except for like related posts. So it would take a keyword that you put in and then find related posts in the Zemanta network, and so it got traffic to everybody that way. It worked pretty well. Like, I liked it. The websites it generally gave were pretty high quality, so I liked it, just that kind of pseudo syndication, and it worked well for me. I got a lot of new readers that way. It was before podcasting, so it was before listeners, but this article goes in really well with different plugins that work with that, and how to do both sides of the syndication. So if you're not a blogger, if you don't consider yourself a writer, you still could pay attention to syndication and maybe get something out of it. So I really liked the perspective that they brought on that one. And then I'm going to toot Elegant Themes' horn one last time and talk about the article that I think it was John Hughes that published it this week, called "What Google's Mobile First Index Means for Your WordPress Site." This is super important. They are now ranking websites based on their mobile first, or their mobile sites first. So if your website is not good for mobile, you should probably do that. There is now you can test the mobile responsiveness. They have a website that you can check that. You can check your metadata. There are things that you can do to make sure that this is that you are where you need to be. So check that out. John really broke it down, and I'm going to be doing that this weekend for a couple of mine. I really am. So I wanted you guys to know about that. The things designers should know. Ooh, man, I just saw the camera shake, and I am so sorry about that. Smashing did a thing designers should know about SEO in 2018. And, some of them are kind of common sense stuff, mobile first, that kind of thing. But it's also going through penalties for pop-ups that if you're a UX designer or honestly just a web designer, think about how those kind of things pop up, because you're going to get penalized if they're if they obfuscate too much of the website itself. So think about that. I also thought it was really cool that smashing, again, love smashing, y'all. You know that. Apparently this is a smashing week rather than a Yoast week. So, what can you do? I loved this one because this one's titled, I used the web for a day with JavaScript turned off. That I don't know if you guys have ever tried to use a JavaScriptless browser, if you've ever like tried the Onion browser or the Onion router browser, the Tor browser. Man, it's hard. Everything uses JavaScript these days, y'all. And it's really interesting to see what websites look like and how they react to you not having JavaScript turned on. And he talks about the difference in a page that has a no script tag versus one that's not using JavaScript at all, and stuff, just how you can see the web and what you see on the web with the JavaScript off on your browser. And it'd be really hard. Honestly, I think thinking about when I tried it, when I was trying, I also tried it with, I want to say it was Firefox Developer Edition. I had got it to block all JavaScript and everything. I just wanted the bare bones that I could, and I realized I can't live like this. It was like 1997 all over again, and no one wants me back in 1997. I do not want to be 14-year-old BJ ever again. So but that is something that I thought was really neat that you guys could look at, is what the web actually uses JavaScript for and how pervasive it is. It's really cool. And then maybe the last one that we get to talk about today. Oh, I know, but it might be, might not be. This one's important, y'all. This one is from Torque. This one is a WP Shout article about a Torque article. So I linked to the WP Shout article so that you could get both of them, so that you got a link to the original and you got this response to it, because I really, really liked Fred Meyer's response to this. So I wanted you to be able to read this and the original article. So I linked to this one. Okay, so see, I adjust myself. Let's get to talking about this. When I started freelancing, I started looking at, when I started prepping myself to freelance, I started looking at Ruby on Rails. I loved Ruby. I love Ruby as a language. I still do. I like writing it a lot better than I like writing JavaScript, honestly. And as I was looking around at all these different classes and courses and forums and projects and tutorials, I kept seeing, and I knew WordPress. I've been using WordPress for about a decade now, and it's something just that I do, and I never thought about it really being a skill like it is, because I've just been using it for so long. It just became something that I did, and this one, like we always hear, I always heard that people like, don't get into WordPress. You're not going to be able to make any money. They can't get the hourly rate that you need. There's too many people out there. You're not going to get any jobs. All of that stuff. And Torque asked this question here: are WordPress developers really cheaper to hire? And I like Fred's answer here. The first one is the short answer. Yes. It's true. We are cheaper to hire. Oh, I saw Mr. Tryhard on YouTube. Mac is, what time is it now? Uncle Social, are you here? What time is it in Britain? Mac, I think, is probably, he might be driving home from work right now, or with his family at home, just getting home pretty close to now, if I'm thinking about Mac's schedule right. But it's night where he is. He does his live stream on Monday morning at 6 a.m. Eastern, so you'll be able to catch him just in a couple of days doing his stream. It's awesome too. He's gonna be talking about Divi new features, and it's gonna be great. So I would not doubt that Mac is the one who said that in the comments right now. So if he did, Mac, I love you. That's awesome. So this particular article with this guy talking about the WordPress developers and WordPress being cheaper to hire is, yeah, we are, y'all. And you know what? that means we're going to have so many more clients. I like this article because he talks about it like it's true, that like it is, where people look at it as different things. I mean, we are less expensive. There are a lot more of us. But honestly, if I hadn't been in WordPress and I'd actually gone into Ruby like I thought, I don't think I would have been able to survive. I don't think I would have been able to get a job. I definitely wouldn't have been able to get this job because, I mean, it's WordPress based, but I don't think I would have been able to succeed as a freelancer because talking to people about WordPress is something they've heard of. Telling somebody who wants a new website or needs their website updated or a new design, yeah, I'm going to build this on Rails. They may not know what that is, and Rails is kind of an obscure, not obscure, but not necessarily user-friendly piece of software to be able to interact with the back end of some websites unless you get a good CMS there. And yeah, WordPress, we're everywhere, but I've gotten so many more jobs because of WordPress that it's crazy. So yeah, we can make less money per job, per hour, whatever it is, but maybe we make a lot more over time. We make up for it by being able to consistently work and there being a plethora of jobs out there for us. But it's a really interesting topic. It's a really interesting article that Torque wrote. It's a really interesting response that WP Shout did, talking about that it's not as much of an issue, that, yeah, we make less work than more specialized like Node.js developers. It's just the case. But it's made up for by a bunch of pros and cons on both sides. So I think it's interesting. So on that, I think I will leave you to check out the rest of all of these links on your own. If you want to look at all of them, please do go click through each and every one of them. Give all of these content creators as much love as you possibly can. Throw some comments at them too. You guys are awesome to talk to, so you might as well get to know them as well. I wanted to thank you guys for showing up again. You are awesome. Every last one of you is fantastic, especially my ghost teammate on in the comments on YouTube. I really appreciate all of you guys. I really, really, really am glad that you guys show up. Now remember that we do have another stream, like I mentioned just a few minutes ago, on Monday at 6 a.m. Eastern time with Mac going over the new Divi features. So if you're in America, get up bright and early and get your notification for that. If you want to know about this stream, our Tuesday streams, our Monday morning streams, make sure that you sign up for notifications. On YouTube, it's the bell, I think right here. It's somewhere like right here, maybe. I don't know. I'm thinking like right there. And on Facebook, you have to go in on our Facebook page and say you want notifications. Please do that so that we can holler at you guys every time that we're online. Your phone will ding at you, and it's wonderful, and you'll get to see one of our shining and beautiful faces whenever you want. But until next week, you guys, I hope you have a fantastic weekend and a fantastic next week in WordPress and in everything else you do. I will see you guys next Friday. Just let me know if y'all need anything. You know I'm on Twitter, and my email is bj@elegantthemes.com. So